The next thing we're going to be looking at is going to be working overtime. I think you're all pretty familiar with the idea of overtime. Overtime is paid when you work more than normal working hours in a week, and it can be paid at time and a half or double time. You used to be able to get paid double time and a half, but that's all gone now, unfortunately. So what you do is you calculate your normal pay first, if you have a normal pay to calculate, and then you add the overtime at the end. Just like other things we've been doing, you will, like commission for example, you would calculate, there's some stages where you would get a retainer, which is a certain amount of money for doing the job in the first place, plus the commission. You calculate the retainer first, then add the commission. So it's the same deal here. You calculate the normal hours worked, then add the commission, the overtime at the end. Sorry.
Wait, so when it says time and a half, like
yep.
You time like the hours plus half of the hours.
Yep. I'll show you a pretty easy way to do it. So if we look at the first one, we got Tim's hourly rate is $15.78. What is his hourly rate at time and a half?
Oh,
so all we do is the first step. Write his hourly rate. So his hourly rate is $15.78. So if I want to find his hourly rate at time and a half, what do I multiply his base rate by? Any ideas?
1.5?
That's it, 1.5. Because if he times it by 1, that's his normal rate. Okay, that's 100% of his normal rate. Time and a half is like 150% of your normal rate. So you're adding 0.5. So for time and a half, you multiply it by 1.5. What's it equal?
23.67.
23.67 was it?
Yeah.
So it's $23.67 an hour. Okay, so this one here, 1.5 is time and a half. Okay, so what if it was double time? What do I do?
Times by 2.
Yep. Oh, that was a bad 2.
That's 31.5.
Yeah, so if it was getting double time, it'd just be 15.78 times 2, which is what?
31.56.
5.3? 5.6? Okay, so if he was getting double time, you're just timesing it by 2. So this 2 here is double time. Pretty simple there. Okay, thank you. Alright, so if we look at this one here. Thanks. Okay, won't be long. Look at this here. Adrian's hourly pay is $12.84 per hour. If you work 6 hours at time and a half, what does he make? So, we essentially want to times his hourly rate times what? Times 1.5. Yeah, we'll pick that because it's time and a half. So time and a half. So times by 1.5 because that's time and a half. Then what do we multiply it by? 6. Okay, hours worked. So it's just going to be his hourly rate, which is $12.84, multiplied by 1.5, which is his time and a half, multiplied by his hours worked. So what's that going to be? You want to do it for me?
115.56.
115.52?
56.
56. I've got terrible hearing. Okay. So all we've done is taken his hourly rate, multiplied it by time and a half. So you know what he's getting for time and a half. And then multiply it by hours worked. This would be equivalent of like your Sunday pay if you're working a casual job. Okay? Sunday pay is good. I used to absolutely rely on it. Okay, so, whoops, I missed a 0. This last one here is the only one that could be a bit confusing. Alright, one more here. So, Natasha makes $11.80 per hour for a 38-hour week. Calculate her pay in a week during which she works 5 hours at time and a half in addition to her regular hours. So the big thing here is, we look here, we calculate their normal pay first and then add the overtime. So if I was going to calculate her normal pay, I'm going to start over here. What am I going to do for a 38-hour week?
You do 1180 times 5 and then times that by 2.5. So that'd be like
So it's $11.80 her hourly rate. So tell you what's the next part. If we want to find out her normal pay.
times it by 38.
By 38, yep, so that's going to get her normal pay, okay? Equals normal pay. So how much is that?
$448.40.
How much, sorry? 400?
$448.40.
448, and how many cents?
40.
40, yeah, thank you. Sorry, I've got really bad hearing. So that's her normal pay, okay? That's what she's getting for a 38-hour week. So, now we have to add her overtime, okay? So how are we calculating out overtime? How much overtime has she worked, Aston?
Question 2, or
How much overtime has Natasha worked? 5 hours, okay? So, it's 5 hours is the amount of overtime she's worked. And Nikana, what is her, what's she getting for working that 5 hours overtime? What's the rate?
is it double and a half? What's it called?
Says in here,
Half time, time and a half.
time and a half.
Yep.
So Bianca, what does that mean I multiply it by?
Yeah. 1.5.
Time and a half, yep, so time and a half. Multiplied by what in the end? Zach? So I've got the amount of overtime, I've got time and a half, what's missing?
Double time.
Normal pay.
And normal pay. Yep. So it's $11.80. Can someone do that for me?
3,363.
How much?
3,363. Oh wait, 3,363.
That seems pretty big.
Oh, I did.
Can someone do this
Oh,
for
I
me?
did the.
5 times 1.5 times 11.8?
88.5.
88.5.
88.5? Okay, so $88.50. So this here,
Then you gotta add that on.
this here's the overtime pay. So to get this all together, you need to then go, thank you. Okay, so to get this all together now, you have to go whatever the normal pay was, plus the overtime. So it's going to equal $88.50 plus, what was the normal pay? $448.40, which is what? Anyone doing that for me? I gave my calculator away.
528, 90.
536.
Yeah, same thing.
Sorry, 536 what?
0.9. 90.
Okay, so you're right on the 90. So the big difference here is you calculate the normal pay first. So she worked 38 hours at her normal pay. She's done additional work, so that's overtime. So that 5 hours is calculated at the time and a half rate. So then you calculate it here, well, as you would up here, and then you add them together. So that means she makes that in the week. Okay? Is that pretty self-explanatory?